my first guest. He's been on the program before. It's been a while since we had him, but we're happy to have him back. You can catch him on his website at avoidingthepuddle.com. You can catch him on his stream at twitch.tv/avoidingthepuddle or on Twitter at twitter.com/avoidthepuddle. It's Eris. Welcome back to the program, sir.
Hey, what's up, everybody? What's up, Internet?
Internets. Our second guest tonight, you can learn more about his most recent endeavor, and we're going to talk about that first tonight at norcalstrongstyle.com. And you can follow him on Twitter at twitter.com/BronsonTran with no vowels, BRNSNTRN. It's Bronson Tran.
Hello, all. Hello, hello.
Try not to sound too excited, Bronson. Last but not least, well, never last. Usually fourth.
I don't understand why you guys are laughing. And why am I always last? Like, I don't get this.
Usually fourth. Tonight, third, though. It's an upgrade.
This doesn't make sense.
You got third tonight.
There's nobody else after me.
Twitter.com/thatMikeRossGuy and Twitch.tv/nothing. It's just Twitch.tv. It's Mike Ross.
The disrespect. We need to talk about this.
All right,
we'll talk about this later.
After the show.
I hate it when mom and dad fight. Come on, guys.
So speaking of disrespect, despite the fact that the announcement was made months ago on Avoiding the Puddle on Eris's stream live that Strong Style would not be streamed, Strong Style 5 still attracting plenty of controversy as the discussion reignited this week. Bronson, what do you make of this most recent round of, I don't want to call it drama. I mean, there wasn't a lot of drama.
Yeah, there's no drama. James is just being an idiot. So I'm sure that's what you're talking about. He's just being super old and super SF elitist, and, he's just stupid.
Do you think he's being an SF elitist?
Yeah, he is.
Eris, do you echo that sentiment? Do you think that James is kind of a Capcom elitist?
I was just hung up on the way Bronson pronounces old. He throws a W in there. A super old. I don't love it. I don't love it.
You know what was funny is Joey Quaylar, he chimed into the discussion about people waiting 3 months for the DVD or the YouTube. Oh, did I say DVD? I meant YouTube. Mike Ross, what? I give us your thoughts on the decision not to stream Strong Style. Just your initial thoughts. I don't mean to put you on the spot.
No, put me on the spot. That's what I'm here for.
Go ahead.
So wait, whose decision was it?
I believe it was Bronson's.
It was mine. But then, Mr. Seglia had a huge part in it, and I knew I had a mad scientist waiting to get his hands on a product that's willing to do crazy shit.
Well, so. Mr. Seglia is a god. We omit him from this conversation, so he's omnipotent. He's everywhere. But the decision not to.
Shao Kahn?
So creepy.
That was the creepiest thing I've ever heard. But I was gonna say the decision not to stream it. Is okay if, what I think would be cool, is you guys can figure it out. But I wouldn't mind if you guys did the tournament, nobody saw the tournament, and you stream it later first, and then upload it to whatever outlets you want to upload it to. You know what I'm saying? Like, hold a national viewing saying, hey, Strong Style will debut at 7 p.m. Friday on Twitch, blah, 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 blah.
So I'm not saying stream it, just not live.
Yeah, whatever. That way you guys got that, godlike post-production, you know what I'm saying?
Well, that is a great idea. I don't know who actually gave you that idea.
Well, you know what I'm saying? Like, these ideas just come out of thin air,
It's not like we've never talked to each other at some point with Strong Style and Mike Ross. Like, you're just, plugging it for no reason yet. But
I mean, hey, it's just...
I understand you're getting that Google money now and your Twitch money now. But
dude,
there's off hours. You don't always have to plug your work, okay? We're just chilling, dude. We're just gonna talk about Tekken. But that is a great idea, Mike.
I don't want to talk about Tekken.
First, let's talk a little bit about the post-production, Bronson. Who do you got lined up as far as the video talent, the production talent goes to work on this thing?
I am putting my blind faith into Chris right now. We do have a commentary. We have a commentary team. You know,
okay, who's doing that?
So involved with that will be probably Rip, Eris, Jimmy, me at some point, and maybe a few other people. But for all the video editing and all the production stuff, that's gonna be in Seglia's hands. And there's probably no better hands in the fighting game community than to have in it.
Can I commentate a set?
Yes, you can if you want.
Can I commentate a set with Eris?
Yes, you can if you want.
Oh, that would be so awesome.
Fine by me.
Eris, what do you think about the decision not to stream Strong Style? I know you've talked about it on your own show.
Well, you know, he told me the idea, and he didn't tell me shit. You know, he just told me the idea, and I understand the sentiment. You know, I was a kid too. We went to a lot of the same tournaments, Bronson and I miss those days, but I thought it was a shitty idea. I thought it couldn't be worse. However, you know, since then, since he first announced it to me, more information has come to light. The whole post-production idea, the whole analogy with the World Series of Poker idea. You know, all these things sound really good. And as you guys said it yourselves, you know, Chris is a god. So at this point, I'm just really excited for the event.
Bronson, how's the support from the community been so far? You know, a lot of people were saying that this was going to be like, nobody's going to come if you don't have a stream. I think most of us kind of rolled our eyes when we heard that, at least those of us that have been involved since before, or those of us that were there at the beginning of streaming. It's kind of overstated its importance, but how has the support been so far from the community?
Obviously in the beginning, it just, people hated me, right? So, but as more information trickled out into the mass media and stuff, I think they're realizing that we as StrongStyle are trying something new, and it's not only going to affect Tekken, but if successful, it'll probably affect the fighting game community. So I think a lot of people are instead of just fully negative about it, have kind of just a wait and see approach to it now.
Do you think there's a sort of divide between like older generations of Tekken players who probably don't care as much about streams and maybe newer Tekken players who are kind of immersed in that lifestyle and are immersed in that sort of, you know, since 2009, the stream has been the primary component for a lot of tournaments.
Yeah, there is definitely a divide right now, but you know, we're trying to teach new kids, like the young kids, about patience, and you can't just always get everything you want right away. So that's what we're trying to hope to like teach the young whippersnappers of this generation.
Mike, when you hear James and others, I don't want to put James too much on blast. I think that his name keeps getting brought up because he was the most recent and most vocal and most notorious person to chime into the argument. But it's certainly not just James. When you hear people saying that this is a missed opportunity for not just Strong Style, but Tekken, that Bronson and the Strong Style team, the 10-0 team, you know, us, we could have really made an impact with Tekken in the US if we had done Strong Style as a major with the stream, but instead we're choosing to do it this way, which is ultimately not going to benefit the Tekken community. Do you agree with that assessment that maybe this is a missed opportunity?
Like I said, it all depends what you guys do with the footage, what you guys do with the content. You know, I really think it should be streamed. Doesn't necessarily have to be, you know, during the tournament, because I do prefer, you know, quality above anything else. Which is part of the reason why I freaking never started my own stream yet here in my room, because I'm too paranoid about quality. I don't want to just do a generic stream when you guys are looking at my bedroom, you know, and I'm sneezing and grabbing snacks, you know, and stuff like that. Like, I would rather make sure that it's done correctly. So it's not a missed opportunity. We're just waiting to see what you guys actually do with it. But I know other people are going to jump to conclusions. Blah, 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 blah.
Eris is a guy who's going. If there's anybody listening tonight who's on the fence about going, maybe, you know, people in NorCal who have enjoyed playing Tekken in the past but have never been to a Tekken major because they're kind of rare. This is only the 5th Strong Style, and it's been around for a long time. As a guy who's a, well, Soul Calibur and Tekken player, but, you know, a 3D fighting guy, has been to plenty of Tekken tournaments in the past. How excited are you for Strong Style?
Well, the thing that really makes it unique to me is that at this point, you really don't see a lot of Tekken-only tournaments. And as you all know, and everyone listening knows, Tekken is kind of like the game that a lot of people don't play these days. It's a little difficult, and, it doesn't get a lot of spotlight, which I do think it deserves. So the thing that's really the most exciting about StrongStyle is that, it's just Tekken. So everyone that goes there isn't going to have to feel like their setups are by the bathroom or, in the fucking dumpster or whatever. It's like the spotlight is on Tekken, and the way that it's being handled is it's going to be a seriously bright spotlight. I mean, we're going to have a lot of international talent, and it's going to be something really unique that you don't get to see. I mean, to me, I love watching Street Fighter. I love watching Marvel, and I'm always glued to all the streams for all the majors. But yeah, I mean, it's hard for anyone to argue that if you're not a fan, like if you're not a hardcore fan of all these games, they kind of all feel like the same thing over and over again. You get the same top players, you get the same kind of feel, you got some commentators, sometimes you like them, sometimes you hate them, but all of the majors kind of feel like it's the same thing over and over. But this one seems like it's really going to be a gem because it's not like just another annual tournament that we always expect. This is something unique. This is something special. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Mike, Eris talked about how he likes to watch Street Fighter and Marvel streams, and I think that's a fairly common viewpoint amongst Tekken players that they will play non-Tekken games. Jimmy Tran, for example, has played Street Fighter for years. He's really good, really great CVS2 player. What is it that you think about as an outsider looking in? What is it about Tekken that you think intimidates 2D players so much?
Oh my gosh, please don't get me started on this topic. I am in a panel of people that would have my head for what I might say right now. But
I think you got two hardcores, and I'm a guy, I like Tekken a lot. I've played Tekken, but not like at a super high level. So, I mean,
yeah,
there's various degrees on this panel.
Tekken, to me, I mean, like, man.
So poetic.
Dude, how do I say this? I mean, this might be my last day on Earth, but I cannot get into that game. I've never enjoyed watching it. Of course, I'm gonna sound like an idiot. To be fair, I loved Tekken 2 and Tekken 3 to death. I think those are probably the most popular ones amongst the casual audience. I don't know why that is. But I think everybody liked that. But to me, the game has looked the same. To me, felt like it played the exact same. I just can't get into that game, man. I don't know how Tekken players can get into Street Fighter, because if I was like a Tekken player, I wouldn't want to play anything else. But it's just something about that game that just, no. There's too many moves. There's too much going on. It looks so basic, but it's like the most advanced thing in the world. Can't do it, man.
Well, that's a good segue, moving into a discussion about, Harada was at EVO. I think the announcement actually leaked before he took the stage. But Tekken 7 is coming. We don't really have a lot of details about it yet. We're all assuming it's going to be on the PS4 and Xbox One. Most definitely probably the PS4. In the past, there have been, PS exclusive Tekken, so this may be another one, but at least PS4. Maybe PS3. Eris, what goes through your mind when you hear from a guy like Mike who looks at Tekken and says, too many moves, too many characters, looks basic, but has a learning curve like a sheer brick wall, and you have a new version on the horizon? What are your thoughts that go through your mind when you hear stuff like that?
Well, I mean, I hear stuff like that all the time. I mean, I go to Wednesday night fights, and a lot of my friends there don't play Tekken. They play other games, and they share Mike's sentiment. So he's definitely not alone in that. I got to say, I mean, I personally feel kind of torn because on the one hand, I really like the technical aspect of Tekken, and I really enjoy the depth that's there. But I also enjoy playing with other people. And there is a limited amount of people who can appreciate Tekken for what it is in its current state. So it's really difficult for me to say, what I would prefer, because both have great benefits. Getting a technical game like what we have is really rare, and it's also a really balanced game. So I think in the history of fighting games, Tekken Tag 2 is really a milestone. It's not very buggy, you know, it's really a solid overall game, but just the overall rules are very intimidating. And, you know, I want to be able to play against a lot of people. I mean, I'd like to be able to play against Mike Ross. I'd like to be able to play against Online Tony and anyone else who's interested in playing it. It just seems like in its current state, perhaps it's a little too difficult for simpletons like the two I mentioned.
Wow, that was very well put together, man.
Thank you.
I'm actually impressed. I tip my hat off to you, Eric.
Appreciate that.
Fedoras have been tipped.
But, and the problem with that game is the majority of this world is filled with simpletons such as myself.
You're right.
That's why you're going to keep getting 17-man tournaments. You're going to keep getting 200 viewers, like, you know, on stream watching Tekken tournaments until they can appeal to the masses and dumb the game down. I mean, hey, look at Street Fighter, right? Street Fighter went through Third Strike, you know, Alpha, blah, 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 CVS 2, all Capcom Fighting Jam Evolution, all of these games that just kind of like went super wacky with it. You know, I'll even throw Tatsunoko vs. Capcom in the Street Fighter universe. And their most successful one was when they just got rid of all of that complicated stuff, dumbed it down, went back to the basics. Many people hated it, you know, initially, but everybody played it because they could get into it. And I would pray that Tekken 7 does the same thing. If you want to keep it difficult, then you might get 20-man tournaments or Tekken 7.
Yeah, I think the funny thing is that you guys asked the perfect two people as far as this topic goes on the show, because I'm sure Bronson is just rolling in his grave right now about the idea of it being dumbed down. Yeah. And I on the other hand,
totally hate that.
Yeah, I know. And I, on the other hand, would prefer it to be accessible, at least to some degree, because I want competition more than anything. So, yeah, what do you think, Bronson? I think that's more important than what I think.
At this point, I'm not even looking into going to tournaments. I'm not looking to do any of that. I have Jimmy living like 20 minutes away from me. I have all the competition I really need for any Tekken in the future.
I don't know. I saw your performance at EVO. I beg to differ.
Yeah, but I still have fun playing it.
You're right.
That's one thing, though. Like,
Mike how'd just you do at EVO?
I did horrible, dude. I lost to the kid, and I lost to some black dude. But...
Wow.
Hey, wow, Bronson. Wow, really?
Mike. What you just said about having it more accessible to others, well, if the game is not going to get easier, that is exactly why we're doing Strong Style the way we're doing it. Like, only 200 people are going to watch, like, a stream during the thing. Only a few people. But if we package it, and then if we, like, make it this pretty product and get so many people hyped about it, like, people are hyped about it already. Even if people don't know what Tekken is, they're just going to watch it anyways right now because hella people are talking about it. That's exactly what we're doing with Strong Style.
And that's good. No, I do agree that, you know, the presentation is everything. It's like, you know, you're polishing a turd right now. Not saying...
No, I completely agree.
Well, you dodged the question, Bronson. I mean, what does that have to do with anything? What he's asking about is the future.
Tekken 7, I would hate it to go the route of Street Fighter 4, where it was just totally dumbed down. I would hate, like, a simple Tekken. That's not what I grew up with. That's not what I started playing with, and that's not what I played 15 years to circle around to.
Well, hold on, because, I mean, I think that people say now, they say, oh, Street Fighter 4 is a dumbed down Street Fighter. And you could make the argument that, yes, Street Fighter 4 vanilla, and when it was released, was a dumbed down. But the way the game stands now, I mean, I know this may not be a popular, like, hip opinion, but the game is pretty complicated. It has over 40 characters, or almost, I think it's exactly 40. There's a lot to know as far as, like, certain characters are very matchup based. You need to know certain specific punishes for things like, you know, EX Quesadilla or whatever. So what would you say, Bronson, to, like, a Tekken 7 serving as the base for a more accessible version that then relayers more complex gameplay over it, say like Tekken 7 Dark Resurrection or whatever, that, you know, adds more back to the game once you have a few more people jumping back in?
That's probably totally fine. No matter what it is, I'm going to play it, right? Because I'm a Tekken fan, like a diehard Tekken fan. So even if it's completely garbage and like Mike Ross could start winning in Tekken 7, there's something totally wrong with it, right? I'll still play it. So, but
sign of a bad game.
That is a total sign of a bad game. If Mike Ross could get 4th or 3rd in any game,
wow.
That means bad, right?
You know, I don't agree. I'm a big fan of yours, Mike. I always have been. I just want to make that clear. And I've never been a fan of Bronson's.
I mean, let's put it like this, though. Let's put it like this, right? I mean, you know, at least we can say that I am consistently a good player. I mean, I got 17th at EVO. You know, I didn't lose to no some black guys. I'm just saying, like, I'm good at the game that I play.
Or 9-year-old
kids. You are the some black guy.
Or 9-year-old kids. I am that some black guy that would have beat you if I played Tekken. You know what I'm saying?
You're absolutely right. You're
I
the
hold it down.
gatekeeper of Street Fighter, and you've been the gatekeeper of any game you played for the last like 20 years, and I must give you props for that. That's totally
wow.
Okay.
You know, I'll give you this. I'm not giving you nothing. You know, I take it back. I'm not giving you nothing.
So Bronson, you want the game to stay just as I mean, we're looking at a roster of what in Tekken Tag 2 is what 50-something characters, 50.
Yeah, around 50s, over 50.
I mean, you're looking at move lists in the hundreds for every single character. You know, you got to go through 11 frame punch, 12 frame punch, 13 frame punch. You got to learn all that stuff. You got to learn how to block, you know, specific strings from every single character that you're going to face. I mean, there's a lot to learn. You don't think that sort of, I mean, Tekken kind of dances on a double edge here, where you have that level of commitment and technicality that's required that a lot of players, such as yourself, appreciate about the game, and in fact probably appreciate the most. But you got a guy like Mike Ross, or even myself to a lesser extent. Like Magus and I, we tried to break into Tekken together. We played a lot together. I remember once we played like a 30-something hour session together trying to grind out for a tournament. And at one point we just looked at each other and we're like, you know, we're 15 years too late for this game. Like we could play from now for a year straight and still not even be close. Do you think that there's a certain level where you have created a community that is just, these are the guys who play Tekken, and you're not really going to see anybody else come in, and as those guys retire or go away, the community is just going to get smaller and smaller and smaller?
Yeah, that's totally what you're seeing right now. So in that aspect, I would be, so I'm torn, right? Like I know the community needs an easier game or something for that will entice new players to come. But as an older player, I feel like we shouldn't subject our game to such scrubbery. Yeah, we shouldn't do that. But for the community itself, you would need to make it simple. You make it 30-ish characters, maybe even like Go Tekken 4 style, where there's like 12 or 16 characters and there's like 2 moves for every character. I don't know. Something to give Tekken another 10, 20 years of competitiveness in the fighting game community.
Eris, what are some things that they could do with Tekken 7? Like very tangible things that they could do to make the game a little bit more accessible?
Well, you know, I mean, that's not my favorite thing to discuss because, I mean, it's just so much. I don't like that topic. But one thing I did want to mention about what Bronson said, you know, the thing about it being like dumbed down to the ground, I think there is really a middle ground here. I mean, it doesn't have to go the route of Street Fighter 4. And Derry, you know, you mentioned that it's a very complex game, Street Fighter 4, and there's a lot of depth to it at this point. And you're right, they did add quite a bit to it since the vanilla version. But even in its final, I shouldn't say final, but in its current version, Street Fighter 4 compared to Tekken Tag 2, unfortunately, is just such a fraction of just knowledge you have to know.
Oh, I 100% agree. 100%
yeah,
agree.
And another aspect to Street Fighter 4 is there are a lot of characters in that game that are so not good, I guess, or not strong enough that if you're playing a solid, good character, you don't really need to know all the mini details of the shitty character that you're playing against. While in Tekken, the game is so balanced and there are so many characters that even a weak character is extremely dangerous. So that also makes the game harder to learn because though there are 40 characters in Street Fighter or however many there are, you don't necessarily need to know every detail about all of them because a lot of them may be really not that good. Tekken, however, is completely different, and really, I think that hurts it a lot. So I think simply lowering the number of characters will help quite a bit.
Bronson, do you agree that maybe they just lower the number of characters and the game would be a little bit more accessible?
Are you basically saying that a balanced game is bad?
Yeah, I think it's bad when there are this many characters because another game that I could bring up is Soul Calibur 2, and I think personally that's one of the most balanced 3D fighting games ever as well. And in that game, there are enough system mechanics that every character can use, which allows you to kind of use the game to beat the characters. And Tekken Tag 1 was also that way. It allowed you to use the system mechanics and the movement mechanics to, if you were an ogre, player, you didn't have to know how to beat a Jun player. You just beat him with the system mechanics or Mishima's or whatever. So I think Tekken Tag 2 lacks that, like, maybe the access to that system mechanic isn't easy enough or something like that. It just needs something about the equation is a little bit too complex for the average Mike Ross. And that really is the main problem to me. The game is okay. It's just there's too much. It becomes like homework, and nobody likes that shit.
Well, I was going to say, Mike, and let's see if you agree here. I think Eris makes a super, super astute point, and that's with Tekken. It feels like you learn the game, and then it's time to learn the game. Like, you learn how to play Tekken, right? You learn how to move. You learn the rules. You learn how to make combos. You learn what the wall means and how to get to the wall and how to do damage at the wall and how to punish. You learn how to play Tekken fundamentally.
Right.
Now you have to start all over again and learn Tekken again because you have to learn character-specific knowledge. You have to learn matchup knowledge. Would the game be more accessible to a guy like you if it was more like what Eris was saying, where you can learn the game and then actually start to beat people?
So okay, a guy like me, I'll be the straw man in this whole debate. That's cool. But the thing is with this is that it was 2008, Eris, that's when Video 94 had Street Fighter 4 Vanilla and Tekken right next to each other.
I remember it well.
And Al and MYK were like 100% convinced that they could get me to Tekken the way they were going to Street Fighter, kind of, And I was like, you know what? I got nothing to lose, and I got nothing to do. Heck yeah, I'll do it, right? So they tried to teach me Ganryu, because it was like Honda or whatever. And I actually had a lot of fun with Al showing me the moves and all that kind of stuff. And, I started to play. It was getting kind of interesting. And then you know what he told me? Exactly what you were saying. He said, cool. Now, the thing is with Tekken, is you have to know every move that every character has. And he spent like 40 minutes telling me every move that my character had. And I'm looking at that roster, I'm like, get out of here. No, like I just don't even, my brain does not want to handle it because I am at, just average Mike Ross. I'm a simpleton. That's not what I want to deal with.
You shouldn't talk about yourself that way, man.
I'm saying, I'm not talking about me right now. I'm talking about average Mike Ross, this mythical character that you guys keep referring to.
Got you.
So what I would just love to see, I think, in Bronson, I think like when we're using this whole dumbed down lingo, I think we're not using it correctly regarding Street Fighter 4. I would say like Street Fighter 4 wasn't dumbed down because essentially what it was brought back to the way Super Turbo kind of played. It was adjusted. A game that was dumbed down to me was Marvel 3 compared to Marvel 2.
I think it's a fair point.
And if that is how you're fearing that Tekken 7 would be done, then I understand how you would feel, and I would hate that. Which is why I don't play Marvel 3. I think it's like, oh god, don't get me started. I don't want to talk about that either. But yeah, I would like to see them simplify Tekken 7 a bit and kind of rebuild the game from ground up. They can keep the characters, they can even keep the complicated or the move list and all the strategy, just rebuild the whole entire engine in the game from ground up.
Well, you don't want to appeal to just the Mike Rosses because then you're going to lose your core fan base. Yeah, I know a ton of people that are just like, if they change it too much, I'm done. So... Yeah.
But then again, at the same time, you're only going to lose like 250 people.
Yeah, that's a valid argument. That is a valid argument. I mean, if you lose the entire current Tekken community and then
you gain all of the newcomers that like look at this game and say, "Oh my gosh, Jin looks so cool," and look at how cool that move he's doing. That animation is so dope. Like.
But you know what? By that sentiment, then why even call it Tekken? Why don't we just make a new game and call it, Moron's game? You know, I mean, we have Tekken. It is a franchise. You know, it is already a franchise. It's already established. And, you know, Tekken 6, whether Street Fighter players like it or not, was way more popular than any other game in Japan, like by far. I was there. Every arcade was just rows of them. So, you know, it just, you know, it depends. It depends on their execution. I think maybe they went a little bit overboard with consumable information and characters and just stuff in Tekken Tag 2. And they just need to find a middle ground to make as many people happy as possible. And I think it's doable.
I think people are really wrong about when people say you need to learn every move in the game. You really don't. Like,
just the ones that matter, right?
Yeah.
I kind of, I mean, Bronson, you at least have to know the basics of every character. You need to know quite a bit. And missing something in Tekken Tag 2, damage on combos is so high that if you miss a 15-frame launcher, you miss a lot. And, you know, it's just quite a big mistake in that game.
But you always hear, hey, I need to know every move. Take 40 minutes to learn this move. Not really, dude. You need to learn a couple mids, couple lows. You have your generic punishes to start you off. We're talking about just to start you off, right? I mean, in the end, you're eventually just gonna learn a new move every like a few months while just playing. So I think people are just overwhelmed at first, and then they're not used to being so overwhelmed with a game that's when they give up. But then, you know, I kind of like that. I kind of like that whole feel about it.
So I wrote an article for shoryuken.com about Tekken.
Yeah, you killed it.
I did not kill it. About 3 years ago, and 2 years ago, I guess, because it was right after the release of Tekken Tag 2, or maybe right before, or right around that time. And one of the things that I talked about, and I've seen some people talk about it since, I still think it's a good idea. Bronson, I'll ask you first. I think it's a good idea. I want to hear what you think. What do you think about Tekken making Tekken 7 a technical game? It appeals to the core audience. Then they make Tekken Cross Street Fighter that is a simplified game that is more accessible, that introduces the concepts of Tekken to new players and can serve as a launching point from that game into Tekken proper. What do you think about that?
They've already done that with Revolution. They've already done that with the free-to-play model of this online PSN game where you could learn the basics of Tekken, even with some easy mode things attached to it, and then you can move onto Tekken Tag. And you know, through the numbers with Revolution, it's been downloaded by millions of players or something, right? Like 1 million downloads or tons of downloads, and then you're still not seeing these players leak into Tekken Tag 2. So obviously that model is being used right now, but there needs to be some tweaks with it.
Eris, your thoughts? Why aren't the players moving from Revolution over to Tag 2?
I don't know. I mean, if you ask me, Revolution is still a difficult game. I mean, if you just have never played anything. When I worked at Super Arcade, there were quite a few regulars that wanted to try Revolution because Tag 2 was intimidating. And when they came back to me after Revolution, they were like, what the hell, dude? That's the easy one? You know, so, you know, it's still... I don't really like the idea in general. I mean, you know, Tekken is Tekken, and they are very good at crafting their product, you know, and they made an excellent, very popular game in Tekken 6, and I think that they can work from there and just kind of find that middle ground. You know, I don't think they need a scheme or they need to trick, you know, Street Fighter players into, you know, being interested in Tekken. I think that if they're just smart with the way they develop the next game, they could do a combination of all the things that we're saying, and they could just produce a product that's accessible by everyone. None of these are bad ideas, and if they're done wrong, they could be bad ideas, but I think they're all good ideas. It's just a matter of execution at this point. And it is, like I said before, it's really doable.
So, Mike, you mentioned earlier you're cracking a joke at Eris, but you probably weren't too far off the mark, that a Strong Style stream, if we just did it like a traditional stream, like, hey, Strong Style is August 28th or September 28th, and here's the stream link, we'd get like, what, 300 viewers?
You'd probably get like, you know, you would get a couple thousand, but it wouldn't be,
I mean,
you know.
What do you think Tekken 7 needs to do to be more accessible to viewers? Because I'll say this, as a guy who's played his fair share of Tekken, coming from a Capcom background, not an expert, but Tekken, really fun to play, not so fun to watch.
Horrible to watch. Horrifying to watch. Which is why, I mean,
Horrifying.
It's horrifying to watch, and to me, it always has been. You know, like since the early days. But I just want to say that what they can do. I know you guys don't want to hear this, man. I'm just saying everything to make Bronson and Eris upset, but I gotta say it.
You can't make me upset, man.
That makes me feel a little warm and fuzzy.
Just keep talking, man. Don't worry about it.
I just want to say, like, they just got to add a little more flair to the game when you're watching it. I mean, I got hyped when they announced that it was going to be powered by the Unreal Engine.
Right.
So I know they can do some really good, some flashy stuff with that.
Whoa. What about Snoop Dogg?
Yeah, he's cool.
But you know, that's a thing though. That's maybe a little bit of a gripe. But do you think that maybe the guys who maybe Harada is a little off the mark when it comes to like pop culture and hypeness and what people want to see? It's like he seems perpetually 4 or 5 years past his expiration date on what he, you know, like Tekken 6 had the tap out stuff, and it's like, really?
Yeah. yeah, no, the whole it was corny, but I mean it was funny, but I don't know. They just need to add some actual flair and excitement.
You know, in Tekken 7, they'll have a guy who does the "What does the fox say" dance.
Oh God! Oh please, no.
I don't even know what that means.
That would be amazing.
That's good.
Cool.
Yeah, but that's all they need. Some flair.
Well, I mean, we honestly maybe that's not a fair question because we can't even figure out what to do with Street Fighter or Marvel to get, you know, Dota and League of Legends numbers. I mean, but Bronson, what would you think that they would have to do to get Tekken up to Street Fighter levels at least?
Yeah, okay. Go ahead, Bronson.
Yeah, I probably won't say this very often, but I agree with Mike. Are we
archiving this?
No, we're not. We're deleting it right now. But if to get better numbers, you would have to obviously adapt the game to the current demographic. And the current demographic in America, or maybe in Europe, obviously not in Asia because they're still playing Tekken over there, but in America, we are not happy with playing games that we have to put in work with for the most part. So
Hold on, what do you mean?
I disagree with that.
I do round trip loop into swords, and that took a lot of work to learn.
That is hella easy.
That's hard.
You hold a button down and you press down fierce, which is C all of a sudden.
That took me like 45 minutes in training mode to get that down.
45 minutes, see? That's not that much time.
I think that's a lot of time, Bronson.
Oh, really? So there it is again. There's my difference in thinking with everyone else. I think 45 minutes to learn one combo isn't that long. That's actually super.
I actually agree with that.
I can't believe everybody thinks I'm being serious
like a second,
right now.
dude.
I'm totally joking.
Yeah, you're a scrub right now compared to Jeez.
I thought that was going to be like super obviously sarcastic.
I totally didn't think you were joking. I totally didn't think you were joking.
No, Derry, that's how much we respect your game, see? So I apologize for taking you seriously.
You know, on the topic of the aesthetics of Tekken, I have to say, and you know, the thing that Mike Ross mentioned about how the last time he was into it was Tekken 2 and 3, that is a really, really common thing that people say. And I think the main reason is, at that time, the technology wasn't really there to create these 3D games. And when they started to do things like make King's Tail independently move and have its own gravity, and then King started doing multi-parts, and we started to see these like really intricate things that kind of reminded you of Jackie Chan movies, but you're controlling the character. At that time, it was mind-blowing. But since then, I mean, what has the 3D game genre brought to the table that isn't essentially just a polished version of the same thing? Better physics, nicer hair, you know, whatever, who gives a shit? But really, there isn't really much that they can do with the 3D system because eventually it's just going to be motion captured and it's going to look real. So what they need to do is kind of escape from that and look somewhere else, like the way Mike is saying, you know, add a little bit of flash to it, you know, add something that is appealing to the eyes of everyone. So you don't necessarily need to know exactly what a Korean backdash cancel is to appreciate, you know, what you're watching. I think that's really the big reason.
I remember the first time I played Tekken 3 and I got to play Eddie for the first time. And I swear playing Eddie for the first time blew my mind in a way that was like the first time I stepped up to a World Warrior cabinet. Like this was something completely new. When I was controlling him, his legs moved when I pressed the buttons. It was very fluid. I honestly felt for the first time like I was playing a fighting game where I was in full control of there was probably a button I could press for his fingers. It felt like so. I was amazed, and you're totally right. Since then, same game.
Yeah, more or less, especially to the viewer.
So, Bronson, what maybe like X Factor and Ultra in Tekken 7?
No, please no.
No, not at all. Not at all.
So when this whole Tekken 7 thing came out, like Fray started saying something about putting supers into the game, and I wanted to just like stab him in his face.
I like how Fray.
Yeah, I was gonna say something to Fray.
I mean, we've all been around the neighborhood and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, if that's the way I'm gonna talk about him, that's the way I'm gonna talk about him. He ain't no god to me. I like Fray.
Bronson Tran, ladies and gentlemen.
Go on, Bronson.
Continue, Bronson.
No, I'm just saying, like, please don't add those supers or like autocomplete combos and all that stuff. Like, leave that out, please, for the god, please.
Aris, how would you feel if you went to a tournament and you lost a match or a round to a guy who did like an autocomplete combo on you?
I'm a pretty open-minded guy, man. I'm not the kind of person that just hears about something and thinks that's a terrible idea. It's all about implementation, I mean, technically, Tekken Tag 2 has an auto combo function where when you hit the tag assault button, if you hold it down, it automatically does a tag filler for you. And I think that's a terribly executed way to do an auto combo. I think it's just really badly done. But again, it's in the game, so technically you already have that in the game, Bronson. So really, it's a matter of execution, I think. I don't hate or like anything until I've tried it. Even the concepts presented in Mortal Kombat 10, a lot of people really are instantly like, man, what the fuck, interactables and all this stuff. And I'm just like, you got to wait to try it. It could be implemented differently. It could be something new. And I just try to have an open-minded attitude until I don't like it. Then it's like, okay, this is garbage, So I want to try it first. That's my motto.
Mike, what do you think that they could add to Tekken? The flashiness, like what would make you more interested in watching it as a Capcom viewer?
I mean, like when you look at like the Tekken roster, you see some of the coolest character concepts flat out, but I just want to see like, you got some of these cool, ridiculous storylines. I remember the first time I ever saw the character Dragunov was from Eris playing him at Super Arcade once, and I said, this character looks awesome. But just from a perspective, from an outside perspective, when I look at this game, and I know I can get other people from the outside the Tekken scene that will vouch for it, is every character might look cool, but when you're watching the game, it looks like they all play identical.
Well, they technically do. I mean, that's
what makes it balanced, right?
Not just balanced, that's what makes the game kind of function and tick. Like in Street Fighter, you have jab, strong, fierce, short, forward, roundhouse. But when you push that button, anything could happen. You could stick your hand out and fire could be on it, or it could be a tiny little jab or a whip or a fireball. It could be anything. Like a spit from Sentinel or anything. But in these games, 9 times out of 10, or even 9.9 times out of 10, it's just your left hand, your right hand, your left foot, and your right foot. So as a viewer, I mean, I could totally see what you're saying. And, if you knew a little bit more about the details of the game, you would know that there are classifications. Like there are, how in Street Fighter you say something like, oh, he's got a DP. Well, in Tekken, there are things like, oh, he's got a 1-2, or he's got a sit jab, or he's got whatever tools that every character has. And if you look at these tools, just about every single character has them. So, yeah, it totally is. It looks that way because it is that way. Almost every character is the same. It's just the details that make it totally different.
Which is why I'm going to go out on a whim here and say that's the problem with the game. They can't fix that. They can't change that. That's what Tekken is, And if Tekken 7 is going to look identical to the other games, then I don't see that it's going to have any real noticeable growth in the scene.
Bronson, do you agree that at this point the game is it is what it is? We can't really change it too much, or else we're going to lose our core audience. So We're just gonna make the game for the people who've been playing it, for the guys who appreciate it, and we're gonna slowly ride this thing off into the sunset.
Well, it's a business, right? I mean, the company does not want to lose money. And if they're just making it for the core audience, they're definitely going to lose money and maybe not make enough sales for the next game.
Hold on. Because, there is a counterpoint to that says, like, it doesn't matter how technical the game is. On a basic level, just you and your homeboys, you drink beers, you're at a party, somebody puts Tekken in, everyone can play the game. At its highest level, Tekken is the hardest game. At its basic level, it is arguably the easiest game because you can just press buttons and all kinds of crazy shit will happen. And I think that as long as that element exists and people still have fun memories of things like Tekken 3, that they'll still ship 1 million casual copies every year in America. Like, they'll still sell however much, 100,000 first week, 500,000 first week, off of just people's nostalgia and the fact that you could just mash your face into the keyboard or mash your face into the stick, and Eddie will do a 6-hit. Like,
I think that if they were to change it, it would have to be a super drastic change, obviously. Any subtle change will not really affect the core group or will affect the current competitive group enough to get it much bigger than what it is now and much more popular. Yeah.
Well, speaking of Tekken, there is a whole other show that usually airs right after this. It's going to be airing right after this tonight. Twitch.tv/avoidingthepuddle. You guys can catch Eris and the Avoiding the Puddle crew as they take it over to their channel and their show with some Tekken footage, some Tekken conversation tonight and every Thursday, usually around 7:45 to 8 o'clock. I think 8 o'clock, right?
That's what I go for. That's what I shoot for.
Yeah, so we always try to plug their show, but definitely, obviously tonight, make your way over that way because he will be broadcasting there as soon as he gets off the air with us. I just want to send a quick thank you to all of our guests tonight for a Tekken discussion that we've been talking about doing for a while. It always was on the back burner. The other topic tonight was Under Night, and I was like, nah, fuck that, Tekken. So we talked about, rip anime. Tekken's going to be around forever, guys. Anime.
Well, before we go, it sounded like you were winding things up, but I think I want to talk to Bronson a little bit more about Strong Style before we go.
Go ahead.
I want everyone who's watching this who hasn't heard what the reason Strong Style is special is. I want you to share it with them, Bronson, because I feel like you didn't talk about it enough.
Well, obviously it's a NorCal tournament, and a lot of us are a really close-knit group. We were not thinking about doing a Strong Style. We always just teased about it until a really tragic event happened where a dear friend of ours, Patrick Collins, passed away. And I was actually working with him, before everything happened. And he would just come down to my desk and just be asking, hey, when's Strong Style? When's Strong Style? And I always just give him the same answer. Just say, hey, it's coming, man. Don't worry about it. And now it's a bit late. But this is definitely for him, and we're hoping that he's gonna be watching from upstairs, and that's where our stream is gonna be. If you guys want to check that out,
upstairs, yeah.
The VIP,
yeah, VIP. But I gotta talk to Mike about that. Hopefully, we get some Twitch connections up there. But
so
Mike's in charge of downstairs.
Oh, my bad.
I don't know. I don't know what's going on anymore.
But it's definitely this is for Patrick Collins, who died of sickle cell, and we're actually gonna have a fundraiser of sorts and a donation drive at Strong Style for anyone that comes, and we'll be passing out pamphlets and flyers from I believe the California Sickle Cell Foundation. They've been kind enough to send us a lot of things that we could hopefully spread the information about this crappy ass disease.
It affects a lot more people than you know.
Yeah.
And it definitely takes a lot of lives from people who don't take it seriously or people who go undiagnosed. After Pat died, I actually was curious about it. I know hardly next to nothing about it, so I did a little bit of Wikipedia/WebMD look, and it's a startling disease that doesn't get talked about very often, and it's cool to hear that Strong Style is going to be using its platform to raise awareness.
Yeah.
It's going to be September the 28th and 29th.
27th, 28th, I believe.
27th, 28th.
I do have another thing. Last time we were on Avoiding the Puddle, and we had all this information. I totally forgot to say something. I tweeted out really quick, but we are partnering up with KIT, which is a tournament in Tennessee ran by Vandy and Codez. A bunch of really old school fighting game people. The top American placer at StrongStyle will be receiving a free ticket to KIT.
Nice.
So, yeah. If
So
you're
I mean,
American, huh?
These are, I mean, like, there's Final Round, there's Strong Style, and there's Kit. That's basically like the three
Yeah.
Tekken tournaments, right?
Major, yeah.
Exactly.
Those are the big ones.
So, KIT's, I believe in January, if you're the top placing American, you will get a free ticket.
Oh, it's top placing American, huh?
Yeah, because
That's great.
I don't want to pay for any internationals.
Yeah.
Because that's basically it, right? I was like, if they come and steal our money, that's fine, but they shouldn't get any extra prizes with it too.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
That's really cool, actually, because, there are so many international. You didn't mention it, but there are so many international. You want to quickly go over the players that are coming, the heaviest hitters, Bronson?
So we have three players from Italy. We have Harry Potter, Saraceno, and some Dark Angel.
I said the heavy hitters, dude. Let's cut to the chase. I got a show to do.
Harry Potter. We got Malekith from the Netherlands. We have Japan, which is Yu and Nobi and their manager Jackler, probably.
Jackler, the legend.
Yeah, we're working on Korea right now. We have UK Starscream coming. That is actually really exciting. He's a funny guy. He's just not very good. And I don't remember. This list is too long for me to remember, so.
The reason I asked is I think it's really cool that you're giving the domestic players something to fight for, because there are so many players that are really, really, really good coming that this is a really cool addition to what already is a dope tournament.
We have 2 Swedes coming. I forgot about that. JFK and his homeboy.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, we have a lot of international people. Book from Thailand is coming also.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one, too.
So we have a bunch of international people coming, not counting whoever's from Mexico or Canada. So
yeah, this is a very unique event, because it's not like the way you guys have like Tokido and Infiltration and Fudo and all these guys all the time. They come over all the time. We've seen them a million times. We don't even like looking at them anymore. These guys, I don't even know how they look. I only know how they play. So it's really rare to get this many players coming out, and it's going to be something special, definitely.
Any other games other than Tag 2 at the venue, Bronson?
Yeah, we're gonna have a bunch of casual setups with a bunch of Tekken, like whatever old Tekkens you could think of. But we're also running a side tournament with Tekken 4, and the rule is we're allowing all stages in that tournament. So then hopefully you'll see a lot of infinites and a lot of broken things and with the different stages. And then we're also having a 3v3 for Tekken Tag 2.
Any word on who the 3v3 teams are going to be, or is it just open entry?
It's going to be open entry, I believe. So,
the chat wants to know if you're close to entry cap at all.
We are not close to entry cap, but the number is rising very quickly. I don't know the final numbers yet, but it's getting there, guys, and it's kind of scary because usually everyone signs up a lot later. So it's nice.
All right, so guys, make sure you head over to NorCalStrongStyle.com for all the information about StrongStyle 5. You can register on the website. You can get information about where it's taking place, which is the San Mateo Event Center. And I think you guys have like information about local hotels and things like that. Or
yeah, that'll be coming out very soon. I think Soto is handling that.
Okay, so you guys are going to be able to take a look at some of the players that are coming. You guys are going to be able to check out the sponsors, all that stuff at NorCalStrongStyle.com for StrongStyle 5. It's September the 27th and 28th in San Mateo. I'm going to be there. Chris Segley, I think most of iPlay Winter is going to be there. We're going to either be working or Spooky will be there. And I think Spooky's going to be doing some commentary as well.
Spooky's actually going to be helping with that. That's going to be amazing. He's one of the best commentators in all of the community, solo, hands down.
Best humans in all of the community.
Hands down, yes.
I've worked with Spooky many weekends on several occasions. I'm looking forward to seeing him again, and a lot of the other guys that I haven't seen in a while. September 27th and 28th. Mike, anything going on at Twitch? Because StrongStyle's not.
Wait, what?
Anything you want to plug before we go?
Holy Lord, did I just get dissed and it happened so quick that like I didn't pick it up? Wow.
It's nothing against you or even Twitch.
I know.
It's Bronson.
No, that was really good. Nah, man, just keep doing your thing. Here chilling with the iPlay Winter crew, enjoying myself.
Film myself.
That's it. Oh, is the brackets or whatever it is for Strong Style, is that filled up already?
It's not filled up yet, but we're cutting off registration on September 5th, and the weekend afterwards, we're actually streaming the whole bracket pool process, so you guys will know exactly how we're doing it and how you'll see it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And for those of you guys that are upset, by the way, I don't want to break it on Mike, but for those of you guys that are upset about no stream, and if you are in the area, it's free to spectate, even if you don't want to play, so you can come out and be a real life stream monster. Although I can guarantee you, the Tekken community has a lot less sense of humor and tolerance for stream monstery crap than the Capcom guys. Like nobody in Tekken has a sense of humor, so just keep that in mind. But Mike, go ahead.
No, I was just making sure that anybody that's watching, I don't know if in case you plugged it, whatever, where they can register and stuff like that.
Yeah, NorCalStrongStyle.com. Mike, I'm hoping to see your name on the list. Okay.
Yeah.
He wants that trip to KIT.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm from Tennessee. I would love a trip to KIT.
4th place might be the highest American, so you got a pretty good chance.
I mean, if I go, what do I do? Just beat one person, and I probably get 4th place, right?
My, impressive.
Mike, I will beat you in any Marvel game, any Tekken game, possibly CVS.
Oh man, Bronson, you guys.
This should be like a new I Play Winner, like a new series we do. Mike versus Bronson at random fighting games
and everything, right? Just go through the gauntlet.
But anyway, guys, thank you for watching tonight. Please head on over to twitch.tv/avoidingthepuddle to catch the show tonight. I want to send a special thanks to all of our guests. We got Bronson from StrongStyle at twitter.com/BronsonTran, no vowels, twitter.com/avoidthepuddle for Eris, and twitter.com/thatMikeRossGuy. Make sure you guys follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/iplaywinner. Subscribe to the Twitch TV channel, which you're obviously watching us on now, and our YouTube channel at youtube.com/iplaywinner, where the video on demand for this show and all of our other shows, including our streams and the show that sucks and Super Desperation Radio, usually go up about 30 to 45 minutes after the show ends, however long it takes for Twitch to sync up with YouTube and do the auto upload. But if you missed the show, if you missed the first half of the show, you can always catch us later on at YouTube. So yeah, make sure you subscribe to both the Twitch and YouTube. And that's about it. Make sure you guys tune in 2 weeks. We've been doing this for like a month now and we haven't really told anybody, but the Fray has gone to a bi-weekly schedule. So the show that sucks and Super Desperation Radio still weekly, the Fray bi-weekly. So we'll be back in 2 weeks. Make sure you guys tune in 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Thursday in 2 weeks. And until then, yo Fray.